If you like today's, I call it the mean lab, if you like today's mean lab, you could think about being a statistician. They can make $150,000 a year. It's a very, very good job. Okay, so statistics is the mathematics of the collection. When I stop reading, you take over.
Organization.
And interpretation of
Numerical.
data, especially the analysis of population characteristics by inference from sampling. What a definition. What if you had to know this definition for a test? I was thinking about this and I was like, how would I remember that? Well, what does this word start with?
Stat.
What are you busy doing, dear? Devin, I think it is. Oh, stop it.
But he's really good.
All right, so put the pencils down. This starts with what letter again? C. O. I. What's that spell? Coin. 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 That is what we're going to do today. We are going to collect some data, collect our numbers from you. Then we're going to organize the data, and then we're going to interpret the numbers. That is statistics. You know, like mean, median, mode, range, all that stuff. That's statistics. That's organizing it. But to begin, we are going to collect the data. How are we going to do this? I'm going to read a list of 20 words. And when I get finished, I'm going to say, now write them down. And you're going to see how many words you can remember. So we're going to test your memory. What happened was, and this is weird, I was walking through a bookstore. I'd never been in a Borders bookstore before, and I was all excited. So I walk in the bookstore, and I go right to the middle of the bookstore. I just picked the book up randomly. Well, it wasn't real random. The title of the book was, I can't remember what I forgot. And that sounds like me, because I forget things a lot. So I'm like, So I picked up this book. Now this is the weird part. I opened it up right to the middle of the book, just to the middle, and started reading. And what I read was like, oh my gosh, this is interesting. What I read was what we're going to do today. What I read was this author, Sue Halpern, she took a bunch of people. She took a sample of people, and she read them a list of 20 words, and she recorded how many they got right, how many they could remember. And then she did a lot of research. This lady was a professor at Columbia University, which is a very distinguished university. So she's a very smart lady. She found out that the average 20-year-old can remember, how many do you think an average 20-year-old can remember? Out of 20 words? Out of 20 words, how many do you think the average 20-year-old could remember?
15, 10, 5, 10.
Amazingly, it's only 7. Only 7 words out of 20. Now, I think she picked 20-year-old because at 20 years old, your mind is sharp. You're old enough to have strategies to remember things, but you're young enough to have a really sharp mind. So she picked 20. The average 20-year-old gets 7 right. So we're going to see how many y'all get right, and then see how you compare to the average 20-year-old. Now, she took another sample of 80-year-olds, a lot of 80-year-olds, and did the same thing to them. How many do you think they got right on the average?
3.
That's very close. They only got 4. And it's pretty true to life, because I did it to an 85-year-old woman, my mother, and she only got 3 right. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just read the last 3. You couldn't even get those. She only got 3. Now, I've even done this in some classes, and kids have only gotten 3 right. We're going to put your score beside your name. Oh no, I'm so embarrassed. What if I get a 2? Not a problem at all. It does not mean you're stupid. It has nothing to do with, well, I won't say it has nothing to do with intelligence. If you take an IQ test, there is a small portion of that test that it tests your memory. That's a small part of it. But for the most part, intelligence doesn't have anything to do with remembering. I can't remember anything, and I'm very intelligent. Einstein, Albert Einstein, was considered one of the geniuses of all time, and he couldn't remember his own phone number. He was constantly losing things. He couldn't remember where he put his umbrella. It was always lost. Everything was always lost. He couldn't remember anything, but he was a genius. So if you have to put a 2 up here, that you didn't remember, you could only remember 2, it doesn't have any reflection on your intelligence. So there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You want to get a good, accurate count of how many you remember. So don't